put them in the chat and we'll get to them. So today we're going to go into Ludwig Van Beethoven. Everyone knows who Beethoven is, right?
Oh, so that's his full name.
Yeah.
Oh, for the Beethoven.
Nah, that was just his surname. His first name was Ludwig Van Beethoven.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Hakayan, Banyamin?
Canada and can, sir.
So I can say that again.
I said Canada and can.
Oh, most of Christ, I thought you couldn't hear me. So we're gonna go into Beethoven. Some of just add to the stage. So now this is some of the books we're gonna be using. So the first one is Beethoven Impression by his contemporaries. So now, Hakayan, what's a contemporary? Is it my side that's slow?
It could be. You could think it. I tried to see Benjamin.
Benjamin, can you hear me, or is it my side that's slow?
Can, sir, I can hear. I'm not sure if it's Officer Akayan having issues.
Yeah, all right, no sir. All right, then Benjamin, what? Actually, someone online. What's a contemporary? Someone give me what a contemporary is. I'm gonna give you a minute. I'm gonna give you a minute to get that for me. Someone online, just type in what's a contemporary, because contemporary reports is very important, especially when you're dealing with history. So someone online, just give me what a contemporary is. I'm gonna give 1 minute for someone to get me what a contemporary is. Then I'm gonna have to move on for time's sake. So this is some of the books we're gonna go through. The first one is Beethoven's Impression by his contemporaries. The second one is Unrequited Love, an episode in the life of Beethoven from the diary of a young woman. And the last one is The Life of Beethoven. Now, no one online. Go ahead.
A contemporary, living or occurring at the same time.
A contemporary is someone that's living or occurring at the same time. Benjamin, what does that mean?
So, okay, sir. I would say it means that he's living, and the is almost like his chronicles, his like his journal is being represented at that same time, like his journal. I wouldn't want to use diary, but his journal, all his situation is being represented, is being laid out, so to speak.
The better way to say it is someone that lived at the same time that actually seen him, wrote about him. So now, that's what a contemporary is, someone that's around the same time as you. So now, someone that's around the same time as Beethoven, their report is more likely to be believed than someone who came 200 years after Beethoven. That's like, go ahead.
So would a contemporary be a man that lives on the same time as you, even if you don't know you?
Yes.
So am I a contemporary with George Bush?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you was to, it's better if you know him though, because if you do know him, man, you could write what he actually looks like firsthand, instead of being an author 200 years later after the person's dead and writing because I heard such and such. Whereas you being a contemporary, you could have a direct diary of, well, George Bush done this on this day. I was there, he done this on this day. Whereas a child that was born in 2020, him writing a report on what happened in 2003, someone who was around at 2003, their report would be closer to actually what happened if it was telling the truth. So a contemporary is someone that lives around the same time. So we're going to go through these books and a few other books. So Salakia, now we're going to start off in the beginning of Beethoven's life. Salakia, get me this one, Benjamin.
Canada one cancer. In the year 1857, the Leipzig weekly paper Die Greensbutton published, under the title "From the Years of Beethoven's Life, Extracts from the Diary of a Young Lady."
So now this book that we have right here, this is a diary of a young lady. This was a lady that wrote a diary. As someone said, the sound's gone. Hold on 1 second. We just Ira, we're just gonna check.
Canada one cancer.
Is it Ira? Is it all right on our side? Someone online, give me a one if you can hear what we're saying. Oh yeah, Tyson, it sounds good. He goes, it's scratchy. Yeah. It sounds clear from our side, Ira. It sounds clear. You might have to just refresh your stream and then jump back in. So now this was a lady that wrote a diary on Beethoven, and then after the death of Beethoven, she was like, "All right, this diary can be published." So that's why we have this diary of Beethoven. So this diary goes way back to like the 1800s, because Beethoven lived around what, the late 1700s and the early 1800s. So Lucky, go ahead.
From the diary of a young lady, which attracted at the time universal attention by their unpretending style. They were put together in the most simple way by the writer herself and filled up from memory.
So this was filled up from memory. Go ahead, and it was put together by the writer herself. Go ahead.
The original was kept in reserve. Now, however, the lady is dead, and the diary has been handed to me with the permission to publish from it
So
whatever
now they
is.
got, so now they got the original in reserve, and this man was given the permission to publish what this lady wrote in her diary about Beethoven. So why did she have a diary on Beethoven? Why? Because Beethoven was a popular musician. Beethoven was a popular musician. So now, when you're popular and famous, people take pictures and have records and so forth of you, and that's why she had records of Beethoven. So Beethoven was what? A black man that lived in Germany. I believe he lived in Bonn and moved to Vienna and so forth and was back and forth. So he was a black man that lived in Germany during the 1800s, which lets you know that black men lived in Germany. And we've gone over this that the German royal family originally was black people anyway, and tons of black people lived in Germany. Why? Because the Anglo Saxons came from Germany, and that's why they were speaking the German language. So there's some that came to cross the Rhine to England, and then became Anglo Saxons. Then there would have been some that would have stayed back, and these families would have been what, ruling Germany, the ones that stayed back. So all of them was all family, just branching off different places. And as you grow as a family, you then take on different names. So now the ones that came to England became Anglo-Saxons. The ones that didn't come to England would have kept the name that they was using or changed to a different name. Then over time, once you start realizing that your family, you begin to fight each other. So that's what happened with a lot of these black families. Over time, they forgot that there was family, because as a man has children, his children take on his name. So imagine you've done that and you've moved so far apart that you don't even know your relatives no more. It's like us today. Now, all them countries in the Caribbean don't even like each other, and they're all family, man. And they don't even like each other. You got Jamaicans that will say, yo, Jamaica's the best. But Trinidad will say Trinidad's the best. I don't like him because he's from Trinidad. I don't like him because he's from Jamaica. When they're all the same family, but over time, your family grows, and then you begin to separate your family. So lucky. Can anyone see that one, or is that one too small?
Cut it on concert.
Go ahead.
According to his father, he did not learn much in school.
So now this is Beethoven's father. According to Beethoven's father, Beethoven didn't learn much in school. Go ahead.
For this reason, his father set him down so early before the piano and kept him
Wait, his father did what?
sat him down so early before the piano.
So that's
And
key. Why is that key?
so, like I said,
Go ahead.
I would guess that he started learning to play from an early age.
That too, but it shows that what? Your best discipline comes from your father, man. Look at Serena Williams and Venus Williams.
That's right.
Look at the Jacksons. What you'll find is once a father puts his foot in and makes his children do something, black children become superstars, man. And this is why Beethoven's so great at the piano, because his father did what? Sat him down in front of the piano, man.
That's right.
Beethoven's father sat him down in front of that piano, and that's why Beethoven is considered one of he is the greatest composer of all time, right?
That's right, yeah.
See, and Beethoven's the greatest composer of all time. Why? Because a black man sat him down in front of the piano. Whereas If his father wasn't in his life and he didn't attend school, what would Beethoven be doing? Nothing, man. Nothing. His father realized, all right, then my son ain't too bright in school. Let me just give him something else to do. And his father sat him down in front of a piano. His father knew what he wanted his son to be, and Beethoven became what? One of the greatest composers of all time.
That's right.
So much that people listen to Beethoven today and don't even know it's Beethoven.
That's right.
Yeah, I guarantee you half the instrumentals you've heard, which was Beethoven, you probably didn't even know it came from Beethoven. So, okay, go ahead.
Canada one can set him down early before the piano and kept him hard at work.
And kept him hard at work. You want your children to be something, you discipline them, man. You keep them hard at work and make them focus. What you'll find that is most footballers, their father will take them football, man. The father will take them football and make them do certain things. Why do you think Michael Jackson could sing the way he could sing, man? It wasn't because of his mother, it was because his father was strict and said, yo, do this, do that, do this, do that. Go ahead.
Casil Fisher testifies how his father instructed him at the piano. He would have to stand on a little bench and play.
And listen, from he was a little kid, he could barely reach the piano. He had to stand on the bench and play the piano, man. If you want to be great at something, you have to start young and be consistent, man. Don't think you're gonna play a piano one time and be great. Don't think you're gonna kick a football one time and be great. You need to make sacrifices, man. Beethoven's dad didn't say, you know what, I'll wait until you get a bit taller and then you can start. He improvised, man. Got him a bench. And like the young man said, he said Mayweather Senior as well, man. And why do you think Mayweather's so great? Because their fathers play a role in your greatness. Like, go ahead.
And even Ray Charles, man. And we can play the piano, but the odds are against us. You think a blind nigga like it's over for him? He can still play it. You think a child like Beethoven is the other child? You get sit on a bench, man. You can do shit with the odds against us.
So much that what everything we do is great as could be, man. Even Stevie Wonder's blind and what plays the piano, which means he knows where the keys are without looking, man. He knows where the keys are without looking, which means what? Don't use your ailments to think you can't do something, because a lot of these men have ailments and they still succeed in what they do. That's lucky. Go ahead.
Ludwig van Beethoven also had daily lessons on the violin.
Go ahead.
Once he was playing without notes, his father happened in and said, "What silly trash are you scratching together?"
Get me, his father didn't want Beethoven messing around and just playing for the sake of it. His father wanted him to play the notes, man. Like his father said to me, "Oh, what's this silly trash you playing?" Whereas his mother probably would have said, "Don't worry, leave him." Beethoven's father, I think his father's name was Johann. He had a brother with the same name, and so forth. So now his father wanted said, "Yo, play the notes, man. Stop messing about. Play the notes. Go ahead."
Tilaki, sir.
Go ahead.
Just like many of our fathers, when we teach our children to focus on something, the children like to dawdle, and the mother might say, "Oh, it's okay, let them have a little play," but the father's strict. And sometimes fathers can feel bad for being strict because of the mothers kind of coming in and saying, "No, let them do this and let them do that." But in this text here that you're reading, and all the guys and the brothers that you've just brought up, it shows that a father's strictness and discipline pays off. Salakia.
Exactly. Now, father's strictness and discipline, once you get to where you get to, you should thank your father. Like, damn, I didn't see me being this. Imagine, because his father stayed on him, he goes down as the greatest composer of all time.
That's right.
Such a great composer that they've made him white. That's how much of a great composer he is, man. So much of a great composer now that they've made Beethoven a white man now. But today we're gonna go over some stuff which shows Beethoven was black. So, Lucky, go ahead.
Otherwise, your scratching won't amount to much. When Johann van Beethoven happened to have visitors and Ludwig came into the room, he was wont to edge up to the piano and play chords with his right hand.
Go ahead.
Then his father would say, "What are you splashing around for? Go away, or I'll box your ears."
And listen, man, his father was disciplining him, man. Beethoven's trying to come down, play the piano when there's visitors there. The father's like, yo, move with that, man. The father ain't taking no nonsense. And when you see the way Beethoven was raised, you'll realize Michael Jackson was raised the same way. But the only difference is with Michael Jackson, he had a platform of Edomites and everybody else making out that his father was a horrible man, and took away his childhood and all of those things. Now, what would Michael Jackson rather be? Would he rather be poor and broke and do nothing with his life, or have a strict father, man? Listen, man. Let me go to the next slide for time's sake. So, Lucky, get me this one, Hakayan.
Karuan Khan on the piano by his father and began to feel himself master the notes and the piano. He was emboldened to play on the organ and take lessons. And so he went for a trial to brother.
So now his brother, now he was playing the piano and he was taking lessons on organs and so forth. And what would be the type of music that Beethoven made? What would it be called?
Classic, isn't it?
Yes. So that would be called classical music. And did you know that classical music that Beethoven made originally, it was made during the medieval period to combat certain music. So classical music was considered church music. So they made classical music for the churches in the early stages. So that's why what you'll find is a ton of these brothers that was doing classical music. This is why they still play in church till this day. But that whole custom of that kind of music, it would have came from us and so forth. Because we was the best classical players. So okay, go ahead.
And so he went for a trial to Brother Willibald in our local Franciscan monastery.
Actually, hold on. Let me skip this one for time's sake. Give me this one. This goes into the three sons of Beethoven's father.
The three sons of her, Johann.
So now, does anyone know when you see her in German? Does anyone know what it means? This is a man. It says the three sons of her. So when you see her in German, what does it mean?
I'm guessing it's Mr. Sir.
Yes. So when you see her in German, it means Mr. Also, in the 1800s, like you'll see words as well where it says Beethoven and this man, it will say they had intercourse. It's not sexual. Intercourse in the 1800s meant speaking or dealings, like a discourse or whatever. Back then, they'll call it intercourse. So now, if people are speaking, it meant like a friendly relationship or speaking. So you'll see, if you read 1800 books, you'll see that it said people had intercourse. It's not talking about sexual. You can even look it up. In the 1800s, intercourse meant like speaking or whatever. So if you see that word from any 1800 books, that's the reason why you'll see that word. So over time, words change. So some of the words we use today, which ain't sexual, it might become sexual after we long dead and gone. Yeah. So over time, it might change. So Lucky, go ahead.
Khan. The three sons of her, Johann Van Beethoven.
So that's his father's name. His father's name was Johann Van Beethoven, and that's why his name was Ludwig Van Beethoven, because this is his father's name. The Beethoven comes from his father. Go ahead.
Khan. Namely, Ludwig, Caspar, and Nicola were very jealous of their parents' honor.
So this is Beethoven's siblings and whatnot, and they was jealous of their father's honor. What does that mean to be jealous of your father's honor?
In biblical terms, are you asking?
Just any term.
Or as in just honor?
Any term.
So okay, sir. Would they does that mean they try to watch their father and try to be better?
All right, then. So they tried to protect his honor, meaning they didn't want no one to dishonor their father. Because if you know anything about Beethoven's father, he was a drunk. So the father was an alcoholic. So they was jealous over their father's honor, meaning they didn't want people to see their father in a dishonorable way. If you get what I mean. So they didn't want to see him in a dishonorable way. So their father used to get drunk, and the father's known for being a drunk. So what you'll find is later in life, once Ludwig van Beethoven grew up, he didn't like his father much. So when he would write to his siblings, he wouldn't put his brother's name in there because his father's name was Johann. His brother's name was Johann. So because his father done some things he didn't like, when he would write to his brother, he wouldn't write his name there because it would remind him of his father. So he grew up kind of not liking his father. Whereas in the early stages, they was jealous over their father's honor. Go ahead.
And Karan Khan, on occasions when their papa was in company and what did not often happen, had drunk a trifle too much, and his sons noticed it.
So now he drank too much, and his sons noticed it. And this is what good children will do, man. If you got good children and they notice their parents is doing stuff, there's certain things that they will do. Now, you could apply this to in the truth. If there's a man that outranks you and is doing something stupid, you could be like a good child to that man and do things the right way, man. Go ahead.
Karan Khan. All three were straight away on the spot, worried, and tried in the most winning way to induce their papa to go quietly home with them.
And they tried to get their father to go home. Like, they didn't shame him. They didn't go there, you're a disgusting drunk, get home. They kind of said, yo, Dad, come on, let's go home, man. We're tired. You know, just like, Dad, we're tired, let's go home, and so forth. Why? Because they know what their dad's like when he's drunk. So they try to respect his honor, which is a good trait to have as a child, man. The Bible says, don't glory in the shame of your father. Like, don't be like, yo, my father's a drunk, but look how I turned out, man. I'm nothing like him. I'm great. Don't be like that, man. Be like these children here, how they was in their young age. They said, all right, it's time to take dad home, and he's had one too many. And what did they do? Tried to hide from the rest of the company that was there, which is a good thing to do. Go ahead.
Karan Khan. So as not to make a scene.
And they're done in a way as to not make a scene. Go ahead.
Karan Khan. They would say soothingly, "Oh, Papa Chen, oh, Papa Chen." And then he would comply.
And then he would comply to going home, but they knew once their dad's had enough time for him to go home. Go ahead.
Karan Khan. He was not quarrelsome in his cups, but merry and lively.
What does that part mean?
He was not an angry or violent drunk.
Yes, but lively.
But
And
lively,
sometimes you could be a happy drunk, but to your children, you're embarrassing them, man. Imagine your dad gets drunk and he's dancing all crazy and that, and you as the child like, damn, man, just calm down. So he said it was not quarrelsome in his cups, but merry and lively. Go ahead.
Karan Khan. So we in the house would hardly notice anything.
So yeah, it was lively. They would just notice, yeah, this has had too much to drink. He's happy, so they would hardly notice because he wasn't a violent drunk. So Lucky, give me this one, Banyamyan. So now this one right here goes into. So Lucky, go ahead.
Johann van Beethoven often
Hey,
said,
Shalom, Lord and Christ. This book we're reading from is. Hold on, let me go back to. What's this slide 6? I'm gonna go back to the first slide. We're reading from these books right here. So these are the 3 books we're reading from. So we're reading from Beethoven, Impressions by His Contemporaries, and Unrequited Love, an episode in the life of Beethoven. And then we're reading the life of Beethoven. But if you was going to get these books, I would say get the first 2. The last one there, it's boring as could be, but I like reading, so I had to get through it just so I can give the brothers the information that's in it. But I can't lie, that book bored me half to death, so lucky. But I'm forced to do it because I do the history class. So lucky. Go ahead, Benjamin.
Got it on count, sir. Johann van Beethoven often said, "My son Ludwig, he is now my only joy."
Now his father was proud of his son. Why? Because imagine if Beethoven's father played the piano originally. So imagine Hakian and Benjamin. Imagine something that you do. Imagine your son then starts to do the things that you like. That son's gonna be your joy, man. Listen, imagine if you're a dad that likes to play the piano, and then your son is interested in the piano. That's gonna become your favorite son, man. You're gonna be like, yo, you see him. I'm gonna give him the opportunity that maybe my father didn't like the piano, but I like the piano. My son likes the piano, so I'm gonna get him piano lessons. He said Beethoven's his joy. This was in the early stage when he was young. Go ahead.
He is getting on so well in music and composition. Everyone observes him with admiration.
So now he was so good at the piano, everyone was observing him. And this is when Beethoven was young. He was a young boy. And why was he good at the piano? Because his father used to make him stand on the bench and play the piano. Go ahead.
My Ludwig, I can see that in time he will become a great man in the world.
And listen, man, a father knows when his son's going to be great at something, man. Listen, a father knows when his son is going to be on some bullshit, excuse my French. And a father also knows when his son is going to be good at something. All through this, you hear about the father. Yo, his father goes, my son's going to be a great man in the world. And the father predicted this when Beethoven was a child, so much that Beethoven became the greatest composer of all time, man. And the father knew this. A black man knew this, man. Looked at his son and said, yo, he's going to become some great man one day. Go ahead.
You who are gathered together here and live to see it, remember my words.
That father was so right, man. He goes, those who live to see it, remember my words, that it's going to be great one day. Why? Because the father seen how Beethoven was knocking them notes out of the piano. You know how hard it is to play a piano? I've tried, man, and listen, I've tried to play a piano. You good at it or not?
No, I played around with it. What shit? The keys are heavy.
Yeah. And you gotta know D flat, C flat, B flat, C on this side. Playing the piano is no joke, man. There's like 61 keys on there, man. You got the black keys. I bet most people don't even know what the black keys are. In the black keys, the flat.
Sharps or flat.
Sure, I think the flats is on the left, and then the bass is somewhere else. Yo, keyboard, there's loads of keys on there, man. You got B, like a B here, a B there. One's flat, one's bass, one's this, one's that. And Beethoven was playing this from a kid, which made his father proud. That's a little bit of backdrop on the story. So now, give me this part right here. What you does anybody know? Does anybody know about Mozart?
Can't say.
Mozart was also a black man. Also, you know that Mozart was black too, right?
Nah.
So Mozart was black. Now, has anyone ever heard of the Black Mozart?
You know, it's funny. You know, I play Mozart to my child when she's sleeping. Black screen Mozart, where it's kind of it's all types of like violins and pianos and all types of like all kind of musical instruments. It's definitely a classic, I would have said. Maybe a little bit of opera in that too.
So now Mozart, Beethoven met Mozart. Mozart was older than Beethoven, but also for history purposes, don't ever confuse the Black Mozart with Mozart because they're two different people. So you will go to if you was to battle some Edomite and you would say, yo, because they called him the Black Mozart, the Edomite would chew you up and let you know there's two different people. He will let you know that the Black Mozart and Mozart is two different people. So don't get the two confused. So there's the Black Mozart. Wait, are you in the stream as well or no? You're not in there, are you? Oh no, I was just gonna pull up. Hold on, let me see if I can pull up the Black Mozart. Wait, are you able to pull it up on your phone? Pull up Mozart on your phone.
Yes, sir.
You got Mozart on your phone?
I believe it is.
Yeah. What's his name say when you type in Mozart? His name. So what's his name?
Amadeus.
So now that's Mozart. So read it. His name is what?
Amadeus Mozart.
So that's Amadeus Mozart. So if you go and tell an Edomite, because Mozart's the Black Mozart, he'll pull that up on you because this one here is the Black Mozart. So the Black Mozart is this one here. So the Black Mozart's name is Chevalier de St. George's, a contemporary of Mozart. So don't ever say to someone, because Mozart was called the Black Mozart. Because as soon as you do that, they're gonna pull up Mozart and show you that there was two different people. So that just add that to your notes that they're different people. Because I was watching a video of some brother trying to break down history, and he started saying, "Why do you think they called Mozart the Black Mozart?" And no one cut him up, but I was there shaking my head like, "No, don't say that." I was there shaking my head like, "Don't say that, man," because they're two different people. And listen, Mozart's a black. Imagine his name was what, Wolfgang. That's some black shit, man. Wolfgang. So, okay, go ahead. Actually, we can skip this slide for time's sake. But this right here just lets you know that Mozart met Beethoven. Well, Beethoven met Mozart. Why? Because Mozart was like 15 years older than him. So Beethoven met Mozart, and Mozart said, "Yo, Beethoven's gonna be great." But if you also go into Mozart's history, Mozart's father also was detrimental in making sure Mozart played the piano. So the reason why Mozart was great at the piano is why? Because the same way Beethoven's father took him to piano lessons, Mozart's father took him to piano lessons also, which lets you know if you want to be great at something, you got to keep those fathers in them kids' lives, man.
Right.
I'm telling you. All throughout history, when you look at people that became the greatest thing on the face of the earth, they had their father in their life, man. Next slide. Slakia, go ahead.
Another one, Khan. Later, one could not say that Ludwig cared much for companions or society.
Go ahead.
And then, when he had to turn his mind to music or set to work by himself, he assumed quite another demeanor and instead undue respect. His happiest hours were those when he was free from the company of his parents,
Go ahead.
which was seldom the case when all the family were away and he was alone by himself. So he got so far
Oh,
that
yes, Slakia also forgot to say that Hitler admired Beethoven. I don't think Hitler knew Beethoven was black, man.
That's right.
I don't think Hitler knew that, because by the time Hitler was around, obviously Beethoven had already became an Edomite. Slakia, go ahead.
so he got so far that in his 12th year he already came forward as a composer,
So now Beethoven's a composer at this time. Go ahead.
and in his 15th was appointed organist, and in token of rank wore a sword on his left side when
So now
he
this is a contemporary describing Beethoven. So Hakian, what does this mean if a contemporary is describing Beethoven? Hakian, you're on mute. You're on mute.
So like it's what is a contemporary?
Now, what does it mean if a contemporary is describing Beethoven?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to find out what a contemporary is, sir.
Okay. A contemporary is two people that lived at the same time.
Oh, then he's describing Beethoven as someone on his kind of level. Would it be?
No. What you want to say is someone that was actually there is describing what the scene of Beethoven.
That's right.
You understand like that? So you don't. While it is what we're reading right here, this ain't a report that came 100 years after Beethoven. This is a contemporary, meaning someone that lived and seen him and knew what he looked like. This is someone giving a description of Beethoven. This is a first-hand account of someone that's seen Beethoven. Go ahead.
and in token of rank wore a sword on his left side when he went up to the rood loft in the court church with his father.
Go ahead.
Gala dress for court musicians. Sea green frock coat, green knee breeches with buckles,
How he dressed. Go ahead.
stockings of white or black silk, shoes with black bone nuts.
So now, if you look at those pictures of medieval dress codes with the red and the stockings and stuff, this is how the dress back then. Go ahead.
Stockings of white or with pocket flaps, the vest bound with real gold cord, hair curled.
Now, this is someone that's seen Beethoven in the flesh and jotting down what they're seeing. First hand account. Go ahead.
Hair curled and with queue.
It said hair curled. Go ahead.
Crush hat under the left arm,
Go ahead.
sword on the left side with silver belt.
Go ahead.
Former physique of her.
So the hair means Mr. So this is saying former physique of Mr. Ludwig. Go ahead.
Ludwig van Beethoven, short and thick set.
So they said Beethoven was short. They said Beethoven was short and thick set. Go ahead.
Broad across the shoulders, short neck, large head, rounded nose, dark brown complexion.
Wait, what color was Beethoven?
Dark brown complexion.
That's right.
They said Beethoven was a dark brown complexion, man.
That's right.
Which is letting you know Beethoven was a black man. This right here is a first-hand account This is someone that's seen him and wrote down what they're seeing. This ain't someone that came after the Renaissance period. This ain't someone that came in the 1900s. This is someone that was alive when Beethoven was playing music. This is someone that went there. It's like if you go to a concert, you would say, yo, 50 Cent had on a bulletproof vest and his hat to the back, and he was dark skinned. That's what you would say. Now, you would write that back. You would write that now, not thinking it's going to be that big of a deal in the future. Lo and behold, these records that we have right now, these same records is helping us, man. Someone that wrote these records now at this time and when this was written, Beethoven being black was common knowledge. Thank God for these records that we have today, man. Because now we have to prove Beethoven's black. Why? Because of the whitewashing. Now, at the time when the person wrote this, they didn't have to prove Beethoven was black. Most people didn't have to prove there was black because it was common knowledge. So the few people that did write a detailed description, that's the records that we have to use to prove that there was black now. Because of white supremacy and the whitewashing and the Renaissance, you have to prove everybody's black nowadays. So, Lucky, go ahead.
Always.
So now this is the next one. Give me this one, Banyamin. Actually, who's reading it? Go ahead.
Always lean forward a little in walking.
So this is how we walk. To go ahead.
When still a boy, they used to call him De Spagnol, the Spaniard.
Wait, Beethoven's nickname was what?
De Spagnol.
All right, so now let's see what De Spagnol means.
That's got to be something to do with black.
We're about to find out.
Spagnol meaning.
All right, so now I'm gonna share this on the screen.
Spanish.
So now his nickname was De Spagnol. So like you read this on the screen for me, Hakayan.
The Spaniard Beethoven's nickname at school was De Spagnol.
So Beethoven's nickname was De Spagnol. Go ahead.
The Spaniard because of his dark complexion.
Wait, because of his what?
Dark complexion.
Because of his dark complexion. His name was Der Spagnol because of his dark complexion. What does that mean about Beethoven?
He's a black man.
That's right.
So why is there a white man on the right hand side of the screen?
That's right.
Because they like to whitewash everything because they ain't got no history, they ain't got no goodness, they ain't got nothing. They have to steal everything. It's lucky.
Exactly. Right there, it says his name is Der Spagnol because of his black complexion. Go ahead, keep reading.
It is highly likely he had Moorish blood.
So see, now they're saying it's highly likely he had Moorish blood. You know why they're saying that? Because they can't deny that he's black. So they're saying it's highly likely he had Moorish blood. So now they're trying to twist it because now once they go back through the records and they can't undo the nicknames he had, they can't undo some of the records, they have to try and justify why he was called certain things. So now, with Beethoven, if you're ever battling an Edomite, you just say to them, what does their Spagnol mean? Tell them to go look on the internet. They'll say, oh, it means dark complexion. Then you say to them, why was Beethoven's nickname Der Spagnol? They can't get around it, man. The reason his nickname was Der Spagnol, why? Because Beethoven was a black man.
That's right.
We just showed you in the last slide, one of his contemporaries wrote that how he was brown in complexion. And right here, that was his nickname in school, Der Spagnol, the Spaniard. Why? Because he was dark skinned, man.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get around that. So okay, let me go read that one more time.
Always lean forward a little when in walking. When still a boy, they used to call him Der Spagnol.
So when he was a boy, they called him Der Spagnol. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it correct. And that's what they used to call him in the house, man, because of his dark complexion. So if we've showed you references of Beethoven being black, how much longer are they going to keep lying and saying that he's white, man? Now this is a drawing of him. Now when you look at that there, you can tell that that's been lightened, but that don't even look like an Edomite right there. Can you see the picture of that?
That's true, Salakia.
That don't look like a black man to you. You're telling me that don't look like a young Michael Jackson right there? Or am I seeing things? And that right there, that right there is a depiction of Beethoven, man. Right there. Right there is a picture of a young Beethoven, probably 18, 19. You're telling me that don't look like a young Michael Jackson right there?
Mm-hmm.
But how did Beethoven go from looking like that to looking like what they tell you he looks like?
And what's that, sir? If I could, what does he look like? Is there pictures of what he looked like?
Of what they made him look like?
Yeah, kind of.
Hold on, let me pull you up one. Listen, you would see the pictures of how they made Beethoven look, and hold on, let me find. I'm trying to. Yeah, this is the most famous one. Oh no, I might have. Wait, how do I go back to that one I had? Yeah, this is the most famous one. All right, hold on. Let me. So that right there is how Beethoven looked in his young days. Looked like a young Michael Jackson. Looks like a young Prince right there, man. It's looking like looks like a young Prince right there. Hold on, bear with me. Let me pull up. Okay, is that one on the screen, Hake?
Let us, sir. Yeah, it is now. I don't know who that is.
Hey, Shalom Braka, Yabba Shabaka Far.
Yeah, that's a Shabaka thumb.
So now, this is how Beethoven looks now, according to them. Hold on, let me see if I can zoom in. How do I zoom in on this? Benjamin, you're going to have to help me again. Salakia.
Salakia, sir. Control plus.
For what? Where's the control now? I'm trying to find that. Oh, yeah, control and what plus?
Con, sir.
Hey, for what? Hey, for what? So now, this is how Beethoven looks now. You see that?
Yeah.
That's how they've made him.
It looked like Tim.
So that's how they've made Beethoven look now. Whereas Beethoven didn't look like that, man. So these is pictures which came after. So now let me go back to where it was. This is a better picture of Beethoven. Now let me go to the next slide. So okay, go ahead.
Cut on one count, sir. Rochlitz gives us a very interesting account of Beethoven's appearance and whole mode of life at this time. Not Beethoven's neglected, almost savage exterior. He says, not his bushy black hair.
Wait, what did you call his hair?
Not his bushy black hair.
Listen, man. White people don't have bushy hair. Hold on, hold on. Is anyone able to go on the internet and type in what race has bushy hair? Yeah. Rocky Allah, are you able to go on the internet and find out who has bushy hair?
Kawakan.
Yeah, I have it here, sir.
You got it. What's it say?
Yeah, it says in the 1800s,
Go ahead.
naturalist Ernest Haeckel devised a
That's the one. Go ahead.
taxonomic category of woolly-haired
So now a man had a category of what hair?
woolly-haired humans.
He had a category of woolly hair. Go ahead.
That included bushy-haired.
Wait. It included woolly hair. Included what?
Bushy-haired.
And who has woolly hair?
Papuans.
Go ahead. Obviously, that's some next dark skin race of I think it's Polynesians or whatever. So I can go ahead.
Fleecy-haired. That's it on that one, sir.
And it says fleecy haired. Now, white people don't have bushy hair. So now all of these books we're reading is all different books when they're describing Beethoven. So sometimes you have to read these books and you have to read between the lines because most people would skip over the bushy hair. But we're not going to give you Edomites a pass, man. It said Beethoven had bushy hair. And now when we're looking and seeing what bushy hair meant in the 1800s, it said it was like woolly hair. And we know black people had woolly hair. Why? Because Jesus Christ had woolly hair, man. So he had hair like wool. So if Jesus Christ had hair like wool, and here Beethoven's was called bushy hair, which means Negroid type of hair, that means Beethoven was a black man, man. Or is everyone with me or am I reaching?
Nah. Beethoven's definitely a black man, sir. Fully.
Look at Beethoven's hair in this picture right there, man. That ain't a black man. That nigga look like Muhammad Ali, man.
Kawakan.
Look, can you see the afro? Can you see the afro hair?
You can't, sir.
And now this is also a picture of Beethoven once he got a bit older. So now it says here, it's like, can anyone read the description? I can't even see it from here.
Council says Mahler's second portrait of Beethoven,
This is a portrait
1850.
of Beethoven, man. Hold on, wait a minute. I'm gonna see if I can. Actually, I won't be able to zoom in on the slide, would I? Would I be able to zoom in on the slide? No, I don't think I'll be able to do it. But if you look at the hair, can everyone see that that's black people hair right there?
Yeah, he
Camo
see,
card.
like it's a-
Go ahead.
he looked like one of those light Negroes, light skin, like my brother, who you know, but you can tell they're black, you know.
And in some reports they said that Beethoven, some say was dark skin, some say he looked mulatto or whatnot. But that right there is a black man. Like, look at the hair. White people don't have hair like that. Like, look at the feet, look at the nose. That's a black man right there, man. So how
okay,
can go ahead?
yes, you can definitely see that the hair is definitely woolly hair there, sir.
See, and they don't tell you that this is how Beethoven looked. They don't tell us this. Because this is a picture of Beethoven. So how come when we look at pictures of Beethoven, hold on, wait a minute. Let me share the other one. Why is contemporary report saying Beethoven look like that? How did it end up looking like this? See, you see what they do? They make him look like this, man. And it's not hard to believe Beethoven's black. You know why? Because all the best beat makers are black. I do not. Right. You got Dr. Dre.
Right.
You got Timbaland. Who else makes beats? I don't even know a lot of beat makers like that. Pharrell, Kanye West. All the best beat makers are black. So why can't Beethoven be black? Now you tell me one Edomite beat maker. Eminem made beats for a Tupac album and the album was trash. So lucky. That one in Resurrection was trash. Now, if all the best beat makers are black today, why can't Beethoven be black? Because Beethoven today would be basically what a beat maker. Beethoven would basically be a beat maker, man. Like Beethoven was a big fan of William Shakespeare, who was also black, man. Now they weren't contemporaries. Why? Because Shakespeare lived in like what? 1500s, 1600s. But obviously he heard a lot about Shakespeare and he was a fan of his. Eventually, one day we're gonna go over how Shakespeare's black as well. We're gonna go over it. Listen, I'm telling you, stay in these history classes, man. We're gonna go over everybody, man.
If I may, sir.
Go ahead.
They've just stolen everything, haven't they?
Yeah, exactly.
Whitewashed everything.
They've stolen so much that when we say people's black, it sounds like we're lying and we're hating.
Yeah.
Sounds like we're crazy. Listen, sometimes I'll be saying so much people's black, I have to think, am I going crazy?
Yeah.
Sometimes I have to say, yo, shit, am I going too far now? Sometimes I have to say, yo, I'm going too far saying all these people black. But then the proof backs it up. So like, someone get me that one.
The consequence of his imprudence was a dangerous illness, which ultimately settled on the organs of hearing.
So now, did anybody know that Beethoven lost his hearing?
No.
Did you know that Beethoven went deaf and he was such a G at the piano, he could play the piano while being deaf?
Damn, heavy.
Oh, God.
Beethoven was deaf, man, couldn't hear a thing, and he could play the piano deaf. And how could Beethoven play the piano? He used to cut the legs off the piano, man, and feel the vibration in his fingers and say, all right, then that sounds like it would be this. And Beethoven was killing the piano like that, man. Don't ever tell me black people ain't great.
That's right.
Nobody able to be that skillful, man,
That's
unless
right.
Black, Hispanic, and Native American.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
This man couldn't hear, but he could feel the vibration in his fingers, man. He could feel the vibration in his fingers and know, all right, then that feels like D bass, D flat. And then over time, if you listen to Beethoven, you will tell that his symphonies changed. You can tell that over time, later on in his life, he started to play more higher bass music. Why? Because obviously his hearing went, and he still wanted to compose and play music. So he started losing his hearing, and he started losing his hearing from when he was about 30s, 40s, or whatever. So, like, go ahead.
If I may, sir, if black people just knew how great we are with fathers in the house, I mean, our nation would it would grow differently, man. You know,
exactly.
Grow real great, man. It's lucky.
If we knew how great we was, if we knew that, listen, if we knew that Beethoven was playing the piano while deaf, that would make you say, damn, I'm complaining about the things that I can't do and I'm able-bodied. This nigga was playing the piano deaf, you know. He would cut the legs off the piano, put the piano on the floor, and you'd feel the bass in his fingers, man.
Salakia,
So,
sir, for me,
go ahead.
it's almost like Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder, sir.
Exactly. So don't try to tell me Beethoven ain't black, man. Listen, we go through these things and we keep it moving, man. This man's deaf, can't hear nothing. Started to lose his hearing, and he's still playing the piano. And he was trying to hide the fact that he's deaf. In the early stages, he would hide the fact that he was deaf because obviously he didn't want people to know. So he's playing the music, and no one could really tell until obviously later on, his hearing was going more and more. And they said that Beethoven he never used to take care of himself and so forth. So obviously his case always worsened and worsened. That's lucky. Go ahead.
Kadwan Khan. From this time, his deafness kept on increasing.
His what?
His deafness kept on increasing.
So his deafness kept on increasing, man. Go ahead.
Kadwan Khan, sir. It is possible that the first symptoms of his deafness did not appear as early as 1796.
Go ahead.
But certain it is that it dates back to at least Slovakia, that it dates back into the last decade of the last century.
So now it's saying his deafness dates back. Go ahead.
It was brought about by heedlessness of his health.
So they said it was brought on by not taking care of his health. Because if you know, Beethoven used to like a drink as well. So they said Beethoven used to be getting drunk off wine all the time. So then when they found out why Beethoven died, they said it had something to do with liver cirrhosis or whatever the hell they call it. Something along them lines. Go ahead.
And that it became a severe tax on his moral courage. His genius was so absorbed in his music that he too frequently forgot to take care of the physical man.
Beethoven was so much into his music that he forgot to take care of himself sometimes, man.
Yeah, that's
His
true.
deafness just banging out them symphonies.
That's
His
true.
deafness just making music and making music and making music.
Mm.
Kind of like Michael Jackson when he fainted on stage. Remember when he fainted when he was doing that tour? When he was doing that tour and he fainted, not taking care of himself because he's trying to please the audience. Beethoven was doing this before Michael Jackson.
If I may say,
go ahead.
Yeah, I can play bass and a little bit of piano, and the thing is, right, there's a world of music. Like, you can get lost in it. Like, you can play for like 4 hours and you don't even think it's 4 hours. You feel like you've done 10, 20 minutes because it's a whole new, it's a whole different world. So I can understand him getting lost in playing the notes and the music, and it's just a whole new world to experience. So I can understand where he's coming from with that. So like,
listen, I'm trying to get into playing the piano. I don't know if you know, I brought a piano years ago, and the shit's difficult. I can't lie. I got a keyboard in my living room. You've seen it, right, Haki, on that keyboard that I had. You've seen it, right?
I don't think
no,
so.
man, you was there. Remember when you was there, and then the kid was on the keyboard. Remember?
I would have played it if it was there. Did I play it?
I don't think you did. Remember, man, the kid was in the living room, and I was sending them upstairs. Remember?
I can't remember, So
It
lucky.
was ages ago. This was ages ago.
Lucky.
I think you and Shamgar. It might have been you and Shamgar there.
Yeah, can't. I can't remember.
Actually, you know what? You did play. You did. I remember.
Okay, yeah.
I remember. But I've been sitting on that for years, and I've been planning to go do some lessons. But one day I'm gonna do some lessons, man. Now I know Beethoven's black. Now I believe I can do it too. And this is why they don't like to. This is why they don't like to tell you anything great is black.
Right. That's right, sir.
Because if you think, well, damn,
right.
Beethoven came from a troubled family. Father was all kinds of things, and it still happened to be something great. You might think, well, damn, I come from a similar background. I can be great too. So they need to lie to you and tell you, you know what, Beethoven ain't black.
If I may, sir,
go ahead.
Would you say that this is one of the main reasons that our enemy tries to keep the black man out of the house by keeping the woman on benefits and saying that, if they're not getting if they're getting help from the man, they can't get the benefits? Or do you think that's the kind of part to it as well, where they're trying to make, take away our greatness, knowing that it comes from the Father.
Listen, 1,000,000%. The Bible says they'll creep into a strong man's house and bind the strong man, then spoil his goods. Now, the man that's meant to lay down the discipline and make sure you stay focused, if he's not there, there's no one to keep you focused. So you're gonna go like with your father. If your father sees you going too much to the left, to say, "Yo, get back on track." Now, if you don't have someone to tell you to get back on track, you're gonna keep steering left, and they do that on purpose. Now, if they allowed our fathers to stay in the house, and the mothers allowed the fathers to stay in the house, everyone would be on track. Because why your father would know, yo, this child here, I need to watch him more than they need to watch that child. Now you might have 3 children. You know, there's some of them that you need to watch more than the others. Because some of them are going to do some of them are less disciplined than the others. Salakia Baraki Allah, can you read this one for me?
Karawakan.
So now this is another contemporary of Beethoven. This is another contemporary of Beethoven, and she's going to tell you what Beethoven looked like. Go ahead.
Karawakan. Beethoven himself wore a morning coat of long-haired, dark gray material and trousers to match, so that he had once recalled to me the picture in Camp's Robinson Crusoe, which I was reading at the time. His coal black hair.
Wait, it's coal black hair. So now they're talking about Beethoven's black hair. Go ahead.
Karawakan. Cut a la Titus, bristled shaggily about his head.
He said his hair bristled shaggily above his head. Go ahead.
Karawakan. His beard, he had not been shaved for several days, made the lower part of his already brown face still darker.
It made his what?
Made the lower part of his already brown face still darker.
It says it made his already brown face already darker, man. It says it made his brown face already darker. So what's that telling you about Beethoven?
He's a nigga.
Exactly. It said it made his face already darker. It's lucky. Go ahead.
Karawakan. I also noticed with that visual quickness peculiar to children that he had.
This is people noticing. Go ahead.
Karawakan. That he had cotton which seemed to have been steeped in a yellowish liquid in his ears.
So now, why did Beethoven have cotton with a yellow liquid in his ears?
He was going deaf.
Exactly. And this report right here further proves that this contemporary knows what they're talking about. Because they even noticed that he had something in his ear. They even noticed this man had something in his ear. They noticed the color of the liquid being yellow. They noticed the color of his face. This right here proves Beethoven's a black man. All these contemporaries that we've shown have been different contemporaries. All the pictures that we've shown have been different artists drawing them. There's no way around this. In the UPK, we study history for real, man. Right. We study history for real. Like we don't just study that the black. We also read the autobiographies, man. So much that we can break down the individual for 2 hours for you, man. We can give you 2 hours of Beethoven, man, if we want. We don't just have to say Beethoven's black and keep jumping to 100 different things. We can give you Beethoven's whole life, man. So, okay, go ahead.
Karawakan. At that time, however, he did not give the least evidence of deafness.
And he didn't give the least evidence of deafness. So at the time, he had it in his ear, but he didn't let nobody know he's deaf. Here's another picture of Beethoven by another artist. You see the afro hair there again?
Karawakan.
This is what I'm saying, man. Listen, man. These is all different pictures. I had to go to the gallery to get these pictures, man. I had to go to the vault to get these pictures. You know, get me. They don't know about these pictures. They don't know where to find these pictures, man. Listen, man. In the UPK, we do work in here, man. We have pictures that you don't even know existed. We have pictures of Shakespeare, Beethoven, all them black images, man, that they've tried to hide out of circulation. Right here is another black picture of Beethoven right there. Look at the afro hair, man. Look at the big nose. You can't see, can you see the big nose, or is it just me?
Yeah, I can see his nose is, yeah.
And a white man don't get hair like that.
Right.
Beethoven's a black man. I'm telling you. So, like, you got get me this one.
Karawakan. It now began for Beethoven a period of severe trials brought upon him by himself. Absorbed in work, he neglected to take sufficient care of his physical
Oh, so,
health.
so Beethoven didn't take care of his health. They said he didn't take care of his health. So that's why that's why he basically lost his, what's it called? Slacky, go ahead.
Kawakan. His trouble with his hearing was increasing, but he paid no attention to it. His carelessness in this regard reduced him to a condition in which he would have found no alleviation and no joy, were it not for the inexhaustible resources he possessed within himself.
So now so now this man didn't take care of his health. They're saying that basically Beethoven, ears could have been fine if he had took care of himself. Go ahead.
Kawakan. It was not easy to see Beethoven himself in Vienna. His
So
almost
now
total
over time, Beethoven began to remove himself from the crowd. Why? Because he began to become more deaf. Go ahead.
Kawakan. His almost total loss of hearing had for result that only a few persons to whose voices he was accustomed were able to make him understand them.
So now, only a few people Beethoven could understand at the time. Why? Because Beethoven is basically deaf at this time. So he would have to look at your mouth and work out what you were saying. And half the time, if he was new, he couldn't work out what you were saying. So what would you have to do? You would have to write on a piece of paper. You'd have to write down on a piece of paper what you were saying. And then Beethoven would read it. And then that's why there's so much reports of letters written to Beethoven, because he was deaf. So obviously some of the letters would have been kept. So they couldn't just speak to him direct because he had a loss of hearing. And they didn't want people to know that he lost his hearing. Go ahead.
Karawakan. The inconvenience resulting from the fact that all others who wished to converse with him were obliged to have recourse to writing, possibly may have made it embarrassing for him to see friends in his home.
And he was embarrassed to see his friends. Why? Because he don't want no one to know he's deaf. He don't want no one to know that he can't hear. He don't want people to know these things. But he's full on deaf now. So now, what Beethoven's doing is withdrawing from everybody. He's not spending time with his family and his friends. Why? Because he's deaf and he don't want people to know. Imagine how crazy this is. You're deaf and you're the greatest composer. You don't want people to know that. It's like you being a sprinter and you got a bandage on your leg, or you got one of your legs is damaged. You don't want people to know, man. So now Beethoven withdrawed from everyone. But hold on, I'm just gonna show you something off YouTube if I could. Bear with me.
Yeah, BBC or something.
Nah, is it this one? The flag goes.
It's a city.
Yeah. So with this is gonna let you know what Beethoven could hear, how Beethoven's hearing was. Bear with me. Let me know if you can hear it.
Here it is.
Can you hear it? Hold on. Can you hear this?
Can't see.
All right, hold on. Let me go back a bit. All right, so this is going to break down how Beethoven's hearing loss was what he could hear.
When Beethoven began to lose his hearing, it started from the top down, meaning the higher frequencies began to disappear first. If you think of the highest note of the piano, C8, that is 4,186 hertz, or roughly 4.2 K. Now, human beings can hear from 20 to 20,000 hertz. Okay, this is 4,186 hertz. So to begin to lose your hearing at the top end, I mean, typically people, when they get in their late 50s, like myself, their hearing will go down to probably about 13K, right? So you don't really hear things that well above that. It's just gone. That's from living long enough. Beethoven died at 56, okay? So in his mid-20s, his hearing was probably like that of someone that is 80 years old. If you're having trouble hearing the highest notes of the piano, that is very profound hearing loss. Let me give you an example of what that might sound like if Beethoven was hearing one of his own.
So now he's going to show you what Beethoven's hearing would sound like. He said Beethoven in his 20s had the hearing of an 80-year-old man. And he's still better than every white composer there is. With the hearing of an 80-year-old. Now he's going to give you now he's going to let you know what it would sound like to Beethoven.
To try to approximate what Beethoven's hearing loss would be, What you need to do is know what range is affected by the articulation of speech. Typically, people that have a deficiency between 2 and 4K will have trouble hearing someone speaking to them because the articulation of speech is between that frequency range. I'm going to use an EQ in Pro Tools to filter out the top end to try and approximate what Beethoven's hearing would be like, especially if we get lower than the frequency of hearing intelligibility. Let's go over to the computer. Okay. Starting to have it really affected there when I get down to about 2K. I just brought the low pass filter down to 1.3K. Let's try and do it a little bit more dramatically and see what happens. And then in. Let's make it even more severe. Okay, let's do it without it. And then. Let's do it even more, make it more severe. In addition to high frequency hearing loss, Beethoven also suffered from tinnitus, or tinnitus as some people say.
So now he suffered from tinnitus. Listen to what, this is what Beethoven was hearing the whole time. Listen to it, you're going to hear it now.
Now, I'm very familiar with it because I have tinnitus. Let me give you an example of what my tinnitus sounds like right now. Now, turn your monitors down, your volume down. I'm just going to play 2 seconds of the sound just to give you a feel for what it sounds like. Here it is. I don't have it every day, but when I do have it, like right now, it's incredibly loud. And it's hard to imagine doing anything with music if you have it all the time. Let me give you an example of what this frequency loss and tinnitus together would sound like to Beethoven.
So now this is what Beethoven's music would sound like to Beethoven before he went completely deaf.
How do you even think of music in your head to write when you're...
Beethoven's a black man.
That's right.
That's why Beethoven can create music, and that's and anyway, I'm gonna stop sharing that for time's sake. Did everybody get that? So lucky I
got that.
So now that's what Beethoven was hearing. So imagine he's trying to make music. He's got all the tinnitus, and he's going deaf at the same time. So he can't hear the music that he's playing. Meanwhile, Beethoven's gone deaf. He's composing some of the greatest music. Listen, this is my favorite one. Can you hear this one now?
Kawakan.
Silence.
Can't no white man play this. You telling me this ain't the best Beethoven? This ain't your favorite Beethoven?
Kawakan, damn right.
I mean, yeah, this one here. You hear this played everywhere. And imagine this man, I'm sure he was deaf when he made this one. Get me? Listen, man. Only a black man can compose like this while being deaf.
Right.
Imagine he made this music and he couldn't even hear it, man. But he knew how to make it. That's how great black people are, man. I'm telling you, you're never gonna get a devil that can do that. Hold on, let me get my next slide while the Beethoven's still in the background. So luck you. Go ahead, someone get me that slide.
Kawakan.
So now, because Beethoven was deaf, he became suicidal. Not a lot of people know that Beethoven became suicidal. So part of him becoming suicidal led Beethoven to start drinking heavily, because obviously, if he realized he can't do his one passion and his one joy no more, so then it led him down the road of depression and so forth. Go ahead.
Kawakan, because he has made his creatures the victims of the smallest accidents in nature, and this to such an extent that what promises to be best and most beautiful in life is destroyed. You must know that what was most precious to me, my hearing.
So now he goes, what was most precious to me, my hearing? And why would his hearing be the most precious thing to him?
Salaki, other one.
Go ahead.
My hearing has been in great part lost.
No, I'm saying why would Beethoven's hearing be the most precious thing to him?
His
Salaki,
music.
other one. In the world of music, you need to be able to
Exactly.
hear what it sound like.
Exactly. In the world of music, you need to hear them. You need to listen out for extra sounds. Imagine Beethoven couldn't hear the extra sounds, but he still was making the music. That's how great black men are, man. That though we can't hear, we can still make good music for people to,
Right.
sit down and move to. Listen, man, we're nobody messing with Beethoven on that piano, man. Get me, about this one. Is this the right one? Hold on. This is the suspense one. Get me.
Khan.
I don't know. This one's called this one called number 25 in a minor or something. Listen, this is that one where you think your woman's cheating on you, you put this and come up the stairs and do detective.
Right.
You play that when you're coming up the stairs. You play a little where you say you like this one, 25. This is the one you think your woman's playing games, you put this on as you come out the car and you do stealth mode up the stairs. That's what you do with this shit right here. Listen, man, ain't nobody composing like Beethoven. Salaki, go ahead.
Khan.
Get
How
me, see that
sad.
right there? I call that one the suspense one. You see when the plot thickens, that's what you have to be playing in the background when the plot thickens.
And yes, man, you playing that year, waiting for there was like drum machines and
exactly.
studio equipment. He's playing with one hand bass, and in the other hand, the melody. That's crazy.
Listen, man, can't no white man play music like that, man. Imagine Beethoven's going in with. Listen, man, I think I'm gonna listen to Beethoven on the way home. So lucky. Sometimes I do it anyway. Sometimes I'll just be playing some Beethoven in the car. Everybody thinking, why is he playing that? Sometimes I'll just be listening to it, even though there's no words. Sometimes when you just want to relax, that's relaxing music.
Right.
Until nowadays, these Edomite composers have took classical music and made it disgusting, man. You've heard that church music they play whenever the Queen's doing that whatever. They've took that music and they've made it disgusting. Whereas when Beethoven was playing that music, it was good, man. Beethoven was playing that good music, man. They came and ruined it. Slaki, go ahead.
Khan. How sad my life is. All that was dear to me, all that I loved is gone.
And this man, all he wanted to do was his hearing because he wanted to play music, man. He goes, all that was dear to me, all that I love is gone. Lucky, go ahead.
Khan. How happy would I now be if I could only hear as I used to hear?
And all this man wanted was his hearing back, man. Because he's a composer. And for a composer, I don't know if you know. Now, to the average man that listens to music, we don't really know. But then if a musician listens to music, he can tell where the beat's off key. He can tell, like, nah, that's not supposed to be in the background like that. He can tell that's not supposed to be there like that. Hey, Shalom, Lord in Christ. So now a man it's like a musician knows that key is not supposed to be in the background like that. A musician knows that. Now, if you're not a musician, there's certain keys that will go over your head. And imagine Beethoven was such a good musician that he could play the piano while being deaf. Go ahead.
Khan. If I could, I will fly to D. But as it is, I must stay away. My best years will fly, and I shall not have fulfilled the promise of my youth, nor accomplish in my art what I fondly hoped I would.
And he said, now I can't accomplish in my art what I finally thought I would, because he's lost his hearing. Go ahead.
Khan. I must now take refuge in the sadness of resignation.
And he said, I must now take refuge in the sadness of resignation, man. Because obviously, if you lose your hearing and this is your moneymaker, you're going to be depressed, man. Beethoven's thinking, yo, why couldn't I lose like my leg or something? At least I could still play the piano. He's thinking, damn, my hearing, the one thing, which is my gift. So, like, you give me this one, Benjamin.
Canada and cancer. I have been in a most unfortunate condition a condition which has been made worse by the stupidity of my physicians,
So now Beethoven's being like every black man blaming the doctor. He's saying stupidity of my physicians. Go ahead.
that my hopes from year to year of being cured have been disappointed.
And now he went to the doctors, and now obviously he's saying, "Yo, I'm past the stage where they can cure me." So he has to just go deaf now. He's saying, "I'm gonna be deaf, and there's nothing I can do about it." So of course he's gonna be depressed. That's his moneymaker. So Lucky, go ahead.
And that at last there lies before me the prospect of permanent ill. Born with an active and even fiery temperament, a lover of the distractions of society, I had to live in a state of isolation from all men.
So he's saying he lived in a state of isolation from all men because he removed himself from men. Why? Because of his hearing. He didn't want to be around them. Because if everyone's talking, laughing, and joking and speaking to you, and you're deaf and you can't hear them, you're gonna feel a certain type of way. So he removed himself from all of that. Go ahead.
How humbled I felt when a person standing near me could hear a flute that was playing in the distance, while I could hear nothing.
Go ahead.
Experiences
And,
like
and
this,
it goes, a man in a distance could hear a flute from far away, and he's basically saying, I'm stood right next to the flute, and I can't hear nothing. That's what he's basically saying. Go ahead.
experiences like this brought me to the very verge of despair, and
Go
I
ahead.
came very near ending my own life.
And this is why Beethoven was suicidal. He said he came close to ending his life because he's saying, yo, if I ain't got my hearing, what's the point, man? He said, if I ain't got my hearing, I ain't got nothing that I want. So he was like, yo, he felt like ending it all. Go ahead.
Art alone held me back.
But what stopped him from killing himself was his art. So he kept holding out and kept trying to play music. So he goes, the art and the skills that he had, it held him back from committing suicide. Go ahead.
It seemed to me impossible that I should leave the world until I had accomplished all for which I felt myself so well fitted.
And he goes, he ain't willing to leave this world until he accomplishes everything that he set out to do. So he wrote this. There's actually a whole letter that he wrote to his brother about suicide. There's more in the letter. So he wrote a whole letter. I can't remember what it's called, but he wrote a whole letter. You can find it. He wrote a whole letter. I believe his brother's name was Carl. He wrote a whole letter to him. I think he wrote the letter to Johan as well. He wrote it to a few of them. And he wrote about how suicidal he is and how upset with his life he is and so forth because of his hearing. So he wrote all of that. Get me this one. This is the next one.
Canada one can. The condition I am in, the condition of Hercules before the queen Omphale.
Go ahead.
Farewell, and never again speak of me as the great man. For I never felt either the weakness or the strength of human nature as I do now.
Go ahead.
But writing to Wegler on the 2nd of May, he says, for a couple of years I have ceased to lead a quiet and peaceful life. I was carried by force into the world's life. Yet I would be happy, perhaps one of the very happiest of men, were it not that the demon has taken up his abode in my ears.
So he goes, yo, he's suffering with a demon, and he goes, that's why he's deaf, because a demon's took abode in his ears, meaning stopped him from hearing. Go ahead.
Had I not read somewhere that man should not voluntarily take leave of
And he
life,
said, if he did read somewhere that a man should commit suicide, voluntary take leave, meaning if he didn't read somewhere that a man shouldn't commit suicide, he's saying he would have did it, man. Because this hurt him, because he's a musician and he can't hear. Go ahead.
leave of life, while he's still able to do one good deed,
He was like, yo, I still can do one good deed, so I'm not going to kill myself yet. Go ahead.
I should long have departed hence, and by my own act. Life is very beautiful, but in my case, it is poisoned forever.
So this is the letters he was writing because he was feeling suicidal. It goes, in his case, his life is poisoned forever because he realized his hearing wasn't coming back. So Lucky Baraki Allah, get me this one if you could.
Karo Khan, in one of the accounts of it that have come down to us, we read, "Never in my life did I hear such tempestuous and at the same time such hearty applause. At one place where the kettle drums so boldly take up the rhythmic motive along the second movement of the symphony was totally interrupted by the applause. The tears stood in the eyes of the performers. Beethoven, however, contrived to wield the baton
So
until
now, this is one time Beethoven was fully deaf and he was performing, and Beethoven was going in with the piano, man. He was going in all the way in, and the whole crowd is applauding him. And Beethoven couldn't hear them applauding him, so he's still working. And his friend had to turn him around and say, "Yo, look at the crowd, look at the crowd." He was so deaf he couldn't hear them clapping, and he was going in with the music while they was applauding him. Imagine this: you're facing the wrong way and everyone's applauding you. You're playing your piano, you don't even know everyone's clapping and bigging you up until you turn around. That's how deaf he was. He didn't even know they was applauding him. So, Lucky, go ahead.
Kawakan. Beethoven, however, contrived to wield the baton until Umlauf called his attention to the action of the audience by a motion of his hand.
And now that to motion with, he had to motion with his hands like, "Yo, Beethoven, look, look, look." Because Beethoven can't hear, you can't say to him, "Yo, look at them applauding you." And apparently, this was one of the loudest applauds ever. To say that this applaud was so loud, and because I think some royal families came to watch him perform. This applauding was so loud, and Beethoven will never ever know what that sounded like, man, because he was deaf at this stage. Imagine
Right.
everyone can hear it, but he can't hear nothing. So, Lucky, go ahead.
Kawakan. He looked at them and bowed in a very composed way.
And he looked at them and bowed. So once he'd seen their hand gestures and movements, he realized that they was applauding him. So he looked at them and bowed. Go ahead.
Karawakan. At the close of the applause was greater still. Yet, strange to say, the man who was the cause of it all again turned his back to the enthusiastic audience.
And so Lucky, get the likes up, get the likes up. Get the likes up. That way it spreads around the algorithm. And some Edomites might see it and then jump online to give us a debate on if Beethoven's black or not. That's what it is, man. We're trying to get them on there because they'll be trying to tell us Beethoven's not black. We'll be telling them Beethoven is black. Get the likes up so one of them can finally step up with their evidence and then we can pull out our evidence. So, Lucky, go ahead.
Karawakan. At this juncture, the happy thought occurred to Unger to wheel Beethoven about towards the audience and to ask him to notice their applause with their waving of hats and handkerchief.
And he didn't notice their applause, man. They had to wave their hats and handkerchiefs because he can't hear. He can just see, but looking into a crowd, you're not going to see clearly. The crowd's usually dark. Go ahead.
Right. He testified his gratitude simply by bowing. And this was the signal for breaking forth of a jubilation such as had scarcely ever before been heard in a theater, and which it seemed would never end.
So this was loud, and this was in the theater. So imagine Beethoven. Imagine this. Imagine being deaf. How do you even know that you're playing the piano at the right speed? How do you even know that the tempo's correct? That's how you know Beethoven was great at what he did, man. That's how you know
Right.
what he did. This man could play the piano and not hear it. Imagine, listen, man. Have you ever tried singing a song a cappella? It don't even sound right. This man's doing this whole thing a cappella, man. All he's doing is pressing keys, and he knows the keys off by heart, and he knows how the vibration's supposed to feel like. With piano, you know if you hold the piano key for too long, it changes the whole, what's it called? How does he know he's not holding it for too long? How does he know he's not pressing it too short? You have to think about all these things to understand how great Beethoven was to play piano deaf. So lucky. Benjamin, get me this one. Now this is another contemporary talking about Beethoven. So right here, this is another contemporary talking about Beethoven. Go ahead.
Beethoven could not possibly be called a handsome man.
So now this is Beethoven wasn't a handsome man. This was a woman that actually seen him. Go ahead.
His somewhat flat, broad nose.
He said this flat, broad nose. Who usually has flat, broad noses? Black people, man. Black people have flat, broad noses. And people making fun of our nose. Back then, it's a good thing now. You know why? Because now we have the records to prove that Beethoven was black.
Right.
So whoever made fun of Beethoven's nose for what, you've done a good job because now we can use that as evidence to prove that he's black. So lucky, go ahead.
And rather wide mouth, his small piercing eyes and swarthy complexion.
Wait. It said it. Wait, his what?
His small piercing eyes and swarthy complexion.
Small piercing eyes and suave complexion. Let's just quickly get the definition of suave. Hold on. Let me just get the let me just get the definition of suave. They said Beethoven had a suave complexion.
So like I got it out of one.
Yeah, is it the same one that I got on the screen or? Yeah, go ahead. If someone can read that off the screen.
Kawakan, dark complexioned.
So suave means dark complexioned. So suave means dark complexion. Now let's go to the slide. Someone read that for me, and then we're gonna pull up the word suave again. Just read it from the suave part.
Swarthy complexion.
So it said it's suave complexion. And now let me pull up the definition of suave again. Hold on, bear with me. So it said Beethoven had a suave complexion, and this is what suave means. Suave means dark complexioned. So they said Beethoven had a dark complexion, and we've showed a lot of evidence today to prove that Beethoven was black, right or wrong.
Kawakan.
A lot of evidence, sir.
Most on Christ. We've showed tons of evidence to show Beethoven was black, from the hair to the images to the nose to the old school pictures to the newish pictures to his nickname in school. We've showed tons of things proving that Beethoven was black.
So like it.
Lucky, go ahead.
Pockmarked.
And it was pockmarked, meaning Beethoven's face was full of marks. Go ahead.
Gave him a strong resemblance.
It says pockmarked into the bargain, meaning into the bargain was an old term for loads of something. So he had loads of marks, scars and pockmarks. Go ahead.
Into the bargain, gave him a strong resemblance to a mulatto.
So the reason they said it gave him a strong resemblance to a mulatto is because all of the marks was making his face look different shades. Some parts of his face was light, some parts of his face was dark. So that's what it said that. So if you look at scarring or someone that's picked scabs or whatever, a part of your face will be lighter than the other part. So that's what it said that. So lucky, go ahead.
And caused many young ladies to pronounce him ugly.
And many young ladies pronounced him ugly. But nonetheless, he was a black man. It said he was of a suave complexion. So lucky, go ahead. Someone get me this one right here.
Kawakan. On the 26th, the little pyramidal clock, which she had received as a present from Princess Christiane Lichnowsky, stopped as it still does when a storm is approaching. Schindler and Bruning had gone to the churchyard to select a grave for him.
So they went to go select a grave for Beethoven because this is when Beethoven's about to die. It's bedbound. This is when I think they've done some operations on him, but it weren't working. So Beethoven's ready to die at this stage. Go ahead.
Kawakan. A storm of loud thunder and hail came raging about 5 o'clock. No one but Frau van Beethoven and the young composer Anselm Hüttenbrenner, who had hurried hither from Graz to look upon his revered master once more.
So now this was an understudy of Beethoven that came to look on him. Go ahead.
Kawakan, were present in the room of the dying man. A stroke of lightning illuminated it with a lurid flash. The moribund opened his eyes, raised his right hand, and looked up with a fixed gaze for several seconds. The soul of the hero would not out. But when his uplifted hand fell back on the bed,
Beethoven's about to die. Go ahead.
Kawakan. But when his uplifted hand fell back on the bed, his eyes half closed. Not another breath, not another heartbeat. It was I that closed the half-open eyes of the sleeper.
So this is when Beethoven died. Go ahead.
Kawakan. So says Hüttenbrenner, an eyewitness of our artist's last moment. This was the 28th of March, 1827.
So now this is when Beethoven died. Obviously, say Beethoven died from some liver cirrhosis or whatever. So this right here was when he died. This right here is a picture of Beethoven on his deathbed. Even on his deathbed, he still looks like a black man. Oh, I'm seeing things.
He does, you know. All black.
You telling me that don't listen? That don't look like that. That looks like every nigga's damn granddad Salaka. Every nigga's granddad his own age on the bed. You tell me that? You tell me you don't look like a black man on his deathbed? Or am I seeing things? And that was an artist that drew a picture of Beethoven when he was on his deathbed. So that's Beethoven right there on his deathbed, and the artist drew a picture of him. Even it looks like a black man on his death. I wish I could get the picture bigger, but that's a picture of Beethoven on his deathbed. So now after Beethoven died, they had a death mask. Look at this right here. This is Beethoven's death mask. Look at that nose. You telling me that don't look at them wide lips? You telling me that don't look like a black man?
Yeah, that's a nigga face right there. It's a lock.
That's Beethoven's actual death mask. So if you look at, remember, and this is Beethoven had a wide nose and a wide mouth. His contemporary said he had a wide nose and a white mouth. This is Beethoven's death mask right here, where it's got the wide nose. Look at the picture to the side, how far the nose comes off the face. Black man right there, man. Beethoven had a wide nose and a wide mouth. That right there is Beethoven's death mask.
So lucky, sir.
Go ahead.
But even the contemporaries that you mentioned earlier, that was in his time, described him as a black man. You know,
Exactly.
so there's no hiding it really.
Exactly. So now they're probably going to flag the video because obviously they can't have the world know Beethoven's black. They're definitely going to flag the video. But now that's and that's his death mask right there. And with that, we up on the time. Clap it up. We had more, but next time. Hakian, you got the announcements?
I haven't, it's a lucky, so.
All right, then call it. You can call it.
Okay, give the teacher a hand for go to class. Appreciate it. Men of Israel, Amarjim Shabbat, Amarjim, Barak, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Hashem Yeshabak Kafar. Barak Kafam. Class dismissed.
All right, for everyone tuning in, I appreciate you all. We'll be here tomorrow with Captain Karafia, 7 p.m. We also be on the ends Friday for Wade. Baraki Ale, Hakiyan, Ben Yamyan for Wade. We'll be here again with more history next week. If there's any history you want in particular, just send me a message on Facebook and we'll see what we can do. All right, Shalom, Israel.
Shalom, sir.
Shalom.